Hello, everyone. I'm sure by now you've heard about it all. The fact that, AFE Babalola has dropped the case against DELE FAROTIMI, or he has said he was going to drop the case against DELE FAROTIMI. We'll continue to follow the news and see how the things are. The question now is, should DELE FAROTIMI countersue AFE Babalola, or should he just let things be? Anyway, for those who don't have a background of the story, this is it. Mr. DELE FAROTIMI wrote a book called The Criminal Justice System in Nigeria. What it means, it's not talking about the criminal justice system. It's saying that the justice system in Nigeria is criminal. So he called it the criminal justice system in Nigeria. And he mentioned a lot of names. He wasn't afraid to mention names. And one of the names that were mentioned was that of AFE Babalola, who is a 90-plus-old lawyer, a son, someone who is at the top of that industry, probably the oldest son alive today, if I'm not mistaken. And then he mentioned him and some members, some other lawyers also from his firm, some partners in his firm, and talked about how they corrupt the judiciary to be able to get judgment, favorable judgment in their own, for them. And so this book he wrote, he published it, it was presented, it's been in the public for like months. And there was really, you trust Nigerians now. Nigerians don't have time for reading those books and whatever. No fuss was made about it until December 3rd, when Mr. DELE FAROTIMI was abducted from his office in Lagos and taken all the way to Ekiti. And he was, in prison, he was locked up, and he was charged to court. And this is where it gets interesting. For a case, for a crime that does not exist in Ekiti State. And the person who initiated all of this that led to the abduction by the Nigerian police of Mr. DELE FAROTIMI was actually AFE Babalola, who felt defamed and maligned and said that the things that Mr. DELE FAROTIMI wrote in his book about him were actually not true. They were not true, according to him, that these were all fabrication, and he had his reputation to protect. And believe you me, I'm one person who believes in people must protect their reputation. But whatever you do, you must do it within the ambit of the law. Why do you abduct someone? Why do you carry him to Ekiti? And then there were a lot of accusations that this is what Mr. AFE Babalola does all the time, especially in Ekiti State, where it is said he happens to be the highest provider of employment in Ekiti State. He has a university, he has money, he has a lot, he has power, he has authority, he has control over the system, and he uses the system against the people. And so Mr. AFE Babalola was said to have carried, Mr. DELE FAROTIMI all the way to Ekiti without first of all any serving from law or whatever. I mean, the police took him there because it was reported that Mr. AFE Babalola himself has a lot of authority in Ekiti State, and he can do and undo. And then guess what happened after that? Nigerians went wild. People were angry. Like, why are you doing this? This person has written about the criminal justice system in Nigeria, how criminal the justice system is in Nigeria, and you are actually playing it out. Many people that have never even heard of the book now realize that DELE FAROTIMI had written a book, and the book became a hot cake. To the extent it became #1 on Amazon. Boom! Everybody was looking for that book. The whole issue had gone, worldwide. People were interested, and people were also going out to go after AFE Babalola in different places, especially in UK, where he had made a recent donation of, was it how many million pounds? The figure had just left my hand. I don't want to pay quite a substantial amount of millions in terms of, fighting for human rights and all of that. And here he was abusing somebody's human rights as it was happening. So a lot of Nigerians, came on, and they were issued. At the end of the day, anyways, DELE FAROTIMI was released, and then there were so many cases, civil cases from all over the country that were put forth by AFE Babalola's partners in his law firm against DELE FAROTIMI. And here they have a right to do that, but what they do not have a right to do is to use the police, which is always a willing tool of oppression for the highest bidder, to go after Mr. DELE FAROTIMI. And now, he said after they have begged him, the Oni of Ife and other Obas had gone to beg him, he's dropping the case that he refused to drop. And he then mentioned that other people had begged him. And the people are saying, did he really drop the case because of the begging, or because he knew there was nowhere he was going to go to with this case? And the more it continues, the more his reputation was on the line. There was more reputational damage. For example, many people, myself included, did not even know that AFE Babalola had been accused in a particular this thing, I think US documents that were released. Remember when WikiLeaks happened, that it was actually there where it was stated he had this thing, that he had bribed appeal court judges in the case of Adamawa State governorship tussle. About 2-point-something million were used at the time on the behest of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. That is what that report said. People didn't know about this, and people started knowing about it, and many other things, that had happened before. And also the issue of how this abduction and, his firm, and his firm, they've done this a lot of time to a lot of people. There was also the case of how he had registered a particular company, and he was paid like 250 million naira, something that normally it doesn't cost more than 20,000 naira. And that was also during the time of Olusegun Obasanjo. So sometimes you see this, our heroes who have so much money, we are wondering how did they make so much money, and gaming the system. Anyway, so that was it. So there's been a lot of reaction to this whole thing about AFE Babalola, dropping this case against him. And like someone called Okweyemi Marcus, he said, guess who eventually chickened out? AFE Babalola, after finding his reputation in the mud, decided to withdraw his suit against DELE FAROTIMI. Him masquerading himself as people's hero, but in truth was nothing more than a tool in the hands of the real oppression. And then you have some people, of course, who are out there saying that, it's DELE FAROTIMI that sent people to go and beg AFE Babalola. You don't go and look for trouble. See the people that are going to beg. And there's a tweet here. This person is waiting for DELE FAROTIMI to come out and say he didn't send anyone to go beg AFE Babalola for him. I know DELE FAROTIMI, and DELE FAROTIMI is not here. And I can vouch you, I can tell you, DELE FAROTIMI will not send anybody to beg anybody. And I'm sure even now, he's angry and he's boiling, and he say, why are they doing that? Because he wanted his day in court for him to bring out all those evidence, and then for us to have a discussion and really see that sometimes the people we call heroes are not actually heroes. They might just be zeros. But what do you think? Should DELE FAROTIMI counter-sue AFE Babalola? Thank you for watching. Bye.